welcome back to Reach Out Reptiles for the very last time in the year 2020. I'll tell you what, we went back and we watched our year in review where I talked about where we had been in 2019. It's pretty crazy. Don't you think so, Thomas?
It's pretty gnarly to say the least.
It's pretty impressive to see what's happened, I think, for the whole world in 2020. But so much stuff has changed around here. If you want to compare and contrast, you can check the video out right here. And you can see that one. If you want to see a really old video about my thoughts on business, you can look at that one right here. Anyway, in 2020, the first thing I gotta say is that we have produced probably the coolest snakes yet from any year. 2020, we hit our 5-year mark as a business. One of the first things that I did to start my business was invest in animals. So to really bring maturity to the projects for dwarf and super dwarf animals that we used, it really does take 5 years. So up until this point, I had just been breeding, a select few animals that I had as a hobbyist keeper. And 2020 was the first year that I got to intentionally breed snakes that were made from bringing super dwarfs to the world type perspective. I'm used to making everything about 10 years after the mainland market, but we were actually able to bring several world first combinations. I think probably the most significant was the carbon fiber, which was the Motley Golden Child Anery Ultra Ivory. A lot of people were saying that thing wouldn't turn out looking the way it did, but I wanted to put as much black as I could onto an all white snake, erase any trace of other colors and see what happened there. So that was my goal with that. I was very happy to see how that turned out. It was really cool to envision a snake and then work towards it genetically. The world saw the first super dwarf cows in a project between some buddies of mine, Don Monson, Andrew Acevedo. It's a whole collaborative network of getting those things made. So that was very cool. So super dwarf cows, I think, is a big thing for the future. It's such an iconic and amazing reticulated python morph that will bring new people into the industry, especially in a small size. Probably the thing that I'm the most proud of is that we were able to work with 5 different dwarf and super dwarf pure locality animals. Clutches, all born and everything in 2020. I've never even owned 5 localities at once. I don't know very many people who have, let alone produce 5 different localities in 1 year captive breeding. That was pretty special. I mean, we have the Calatoas, the stuff that we've produced every year. We produced the pure Jampeas, first time in a decade, and probably my favorite of all the localities because of sentimental reasons. They almost went extinct, but we brought them back for 2020. We got Kiowatis, and not just any Kiowatis from the Doc Murdoch bloodline. And I'd had them, owned them, worked with them, but when I was younger, I outcrossed them to everything. So it was really cool to be able to bring that back and get Winslow Murdoch line Kiowatis pure. Who can forget the Slayers? The Slayers are just ungodly good looking. I mean, what an amazing animal. If you truly want like a jungle type apex predator in a small size, that's it. We got 2 unrelated clutches this year, which was fantastic. And then the Carampas, not without its heartbreak, but we were the first people in the United States ever to produce Carampas. They'd never been produced in the United States. And as far as I'm aware, there are 5 verified legitimate bloodline Carampa adults left. So these are at the brink of extinction in captivity and brought back. Beyond just reinventing our snake collection, we've reinvented ourselves. We reinvented this entire office space, this whole area. Early on in the year, we went with Stewart Design Studios to rebrand and create our new logo, which has really helped to unlock a lot of potential for our business. I love the old logo stuff. Obviously, I'm a little bit partial to it. I designed it myself, but to have a professionally designed logo that really fits in so many ways and is so usable was a fantastic opportunity for our company. It enabled us to get ourselves out there more, to have name recognition on what we do. We have all of our shipping boxes branded. We've even heard stories of people who were delivered their animal and the FedEx driver said, hey, you got a Reach Out Reptile snake? That's awesome. I love those guys on YouTube. So really starting to get some brand recognition. The reinventing of the office space was an absolute necessity, and it's mostly because of the next thing that was a big change for us in 2020, which was the expansion of our team. So you guys all know Aiden, who's been with us throughout the entirety of the year, except for a small hiatus that was no fault of his own. Aiden has had to completely shift and find a new role. He's no longer working with the animals as far as cleaning snake cages and stuff. Instead, he's bringing social content media to you guys, which is great. He's learned a lot of new skills. We've had to work through a whole lot of stuff. I feel like Aiden is constantly in the state of training here. As soon as he was really getting to know the animals really well and everything, that was kind of taken away from him, and he's given this whole new, entirely different task, which he's jumped right in and tackled. So I couldn't be more proud of him. It's been very cool to see him kind of grow and mature and come into his own as a person over the course of the last year. And then obviously we had Kimberly coming into this year, who was a huge help for me, and I'm sure to many of you guys as well. A lot of times she's the first point of contact for people who either reach out on social media or through this YouTube channel, sending emails in to info@reachoutreptiles.com. A lot of times people are going to initiate those conversations with Kim, and Kim has just been amazing through everything that she's going through because she works remotely. You know, it's interesting. Kimberly would always go to like all the reptile shows across the country, and so I would always meet up with her there, and we would talk, and we would have business things and kind of like the meeting of the minds and make sure we were on the same page. She would meet a lot of the customers face to face. So this year it's been, I'm sure, nothing short of challenging for her because that communication breakdown that we've had, because there haven't been all those reptile shows, not getting to meet the customers face to face and trying to deal with every challenge that she's had from this crazy year while helping all of you. So I think she deserves a really big hand. Good job, Kimberly, for everything that she's done. Handled all that stuff awesome. Definitely an amazing part of the team. And then there's the whole problem of like the mess that lives between my ears. And so I had to hire full-time professional help just to get me organized and help me stay on task. And so we brought on Jess. If any of you guys watch our live feeds on Wednesdays, then I'm sure you know Jess as that comic voice and character behind the camera. She does a great job with that, but she organizes everything for me. She's the one getting out all the orders for you guys, for all the new swag and things like that we've taken on this year, and creating systems for that, updating the website, staying on top of customer service, and really just balancing everything. I mean, Thomas, she even makes sure you get all your videos up on time, right? She's quite the whip cracker, isn't she? Good job, Jessica.
We love you, Jess.
I don't know what I would do without her. She's never allowed to leave because she's too critical to operations around here. The company wouldn't run the same if she wasn't around. And then there's Rob.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, Rob!
He thought I was gonna do it.
We all like to make fun of Rob, and no one's ever surprised, no matter what Rob does. You're like, well, you know, it is Rob.
Ow!
Is your nipple bleeding? Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm gonna need a Band-Aid.
Hashtag ain't no balls like these balls.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Great shirt to be wearing.
Yeah, thanks for wearing your shop uniform, buddy. Making me look good over there.
My boss would give me more uniforms.
But when Aiden wasn't able to take care of the animals anymore, Rob stepped in a big way. Now, Rob has actually been keeping and breeding reticulated pythons for a number of years already, and he was a local guy that I just always had a great time hanging out with. I know that he's always got my back, and he's somebody I can definitely depend on and rely on. and I trust him very much. I mean, obviously I would have to trust him with all of my snake kids in there, and I really give him a ton of freedom to run those things the way he is. I'll jump in and give my input, and he's really good at factoring that into his systems and the way he does that stuff. But it's amazing to see him come in and learn the animals and you know, find his favorites and things, which you always know because they're the fattest ones. Rob is obviously just a tremendous asset. Every time we turn the camera on him, he just brings an energy and a level of fun that I am quite frankly not capable of. And then probably the most obvious from where you sit, we actually hired Thomas, who's our videographer for the channel now. The biggest thing, if you go back and you watch our review from 2019, it's almost comical knowing what's coming in 2020, but the biggest thing you'll notice is video production quality. And Thomas has absolutely brought in an amazing, he's not even a snake guy, but he's brought in an amazing ability to edit, to make the stuff look beautiful. You know, there's so many videos where I feel like we had a great message to convey, but the audio was poor, or amazing animals to show, but the lighting wasn't there. And so those shortcomings and handicaps that I had limit my ability to connect with you guys. And so it's really been amazing to me to watch him work his magic. In fact, there was a thought that I had about Thomas. I'll share this one with you. Early on, he would be filming stuff, and I'm watching him film, and I'm thinking, there's no way he captured everything that just happened. What the heck is he doing? Because he's always filming things weird, like multiple little cuts and jumping around and grabbing all these little bits of data, and I'm like, dude, chill out, sit down, film me for a second. I've got something to show you. And I let him go, and then he would pull out an episode that was incredible. And I actually was thinking that exact same thing and talking about it with Rob today, which was the day we went and filmed this video about how to put together a snake rack. Rob said the same thing. He's like, I don't know, man. I worked all day and put a snake rack together, and I'm not quite sure he filmed everything. And I told Rob, I thought the same thing. Take a step back, let Thomas work his magic, trust the process. He's definitely earned my trust. He's all right.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, the video's okay now. What do you guys think? Oh, here's what I want you to do. If you appreciate Thomas and all of his effort, I want you to do two things for me. They're very easy. I want you to like this video, and then I want you to go back to the last video where I did a year in review. It says 2020 on it, but it was reviewing 2019. It's in the link. And I want you to dislike that one. I want to see if we get a bunch of likes on this video and a bunch of dislikes on that video, and that will create job security for Thomas moving into the future. And so one of the biggest themes of 2020, and this is not for me, I'm sure this is for every one of you out there as well, has been overcoming insane obstacles in our financial lives, our personal lives, you know, our business dealings, just the way that we interact with the world around us has completely been thrown upside down. So one of the first big tragedies that struck the Reach Out Reptiles family was back in February, I think it was, might have been January, when Aiden got in an accident where he was a pedestrian and he got hit by a delivery vehicle, big delivery van. And man, that thing just took him out, clobbered the poor guy. So obviously he was taken out of the equation for months, had surgery, pins, they screwed them all back together. And you know, it's been really encouraging to watch him just take on that injury and the healing process with such a great attitude. So when he was out, we brought in Tori. You know, she just did such an amazing job. And then unfortunately, we lost her altogether this year. Tori, unfortunately, was taken before her time.
I'm surrounded by
animals that make me happy. It's kind of, I think snakes are therapeutic whenever I hold them. Ever since I started working with Garrett, I feel like a completely different person. Being around the animals really helps kind of bring me out of my shell. And I've only had my first snake for a year. Now I have 36, so I haven't been in the hobby very long, but it's very enjoyable.
It's not small.
No, she's not.
You make her look really big.
I know.
Losing Tori was a huge hit for us, just emotionally. And I remember getting a call from her sister because Tori had so many different animals. They were just worried that the animals would not be taken care of. Tori was a mom. She had a little boy who was 4 years old, and we were able to put together a charity auction. And it was a really great of you guys to come together and help me to raise that money. They just gave us the animals and we told them we'd give good homes, but us being able to just bring something back, I know they were able to put some of that money towards, helping her son have some stuff that he needed and everything, which obviously is a long way short from having a mother growing up. But yeah, that was a big loss for us. One other huge event that definitely impacted our business and was a major setback was an incubation failure that we had, thankfully, towards the end of the season, where one of our incubators went down, and it broke in such a way that a heating element broke in the on position, and it happened like stacked up coincidentally during a time where I had removed a thermostat, like a backup thermostat, and while it was removed in that very short period, overnight, it broke in the on position and cooked 5 clutches. And that stuff was tough. And then you add on top of all of that, this pandemic that hit, that took out all of the reptile shows, a major source of our income and also of the rest of the reptile industry. The thing that charges me up is getting to those shows. I don't necessarily go there to sell snakes and make money. I come to be able to see you guys face to face without this screen in between us, shake your hand, say hello, and just kind of listen to your stories and how Superdoors have impacted your life, so that it can continue to inspire me to put all the work and effort and time in to make this thing what it is. And so without that's been really hard, but we were able to shift and move some things around. Now we do a live feed every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. It was a great big year for us. With the rebrand, we have, all of the swag sales. Thank you guys so much for your proud support of us by going on reachoutreptiles.com and purchasing an item that you like that helps to support us and show your support of that. That was huge. We created a Patreon, and we have, honestly, I'm amazed. Isn't it incredible, Thomas, our Patreon community?
Yeah, it was like 67 people. It's pretty crazy.
I can't believe how amazing, what a big blessing Patreon has been to this business. And then just the start of a few things that I've been thinking about for a long time, such as the poster that we have for sale that's on there that has all of these dwarf and super dwarf localities depicted in one place. By creating those things, we were able to overcome a lot of this. And all of that is because of you guys. And this is the final point that I want to make. My big takeaway from 2020 is just the amazing viewer support that we've gotten from this YouTube community, from all of you guys watching from home. I cannot thank you enough for helping us to be able to do what we do. It's been overwhelming. From the very beginning, even designed into our original logo and with the rebrand, was this idea of connecting the outdoors, indoors, using dwarf and super dwarf reticulated pythons as it's almost like having a bonsai tree that sits on your desk but reminds you of the greater outdoors. And more than ever in 2020, it's been amazing to have you guys get back to us with stories of the things that our animals have done from you, animals that you guys have purchased from us over the past year, and story after story after story of the blessing, just even in a small way, that the relationship with an animal like that can bring purpose and hope and fulfillment to you guys at home. Thank you guys so much for sharing us in those stories, tagging us when you updated the animals. We were able to watch our babies grow in that way. This isn't something to brag about, but I'm very proud of this, and I want to share with you guys because of your inspirational outpour of support for us. One thing that I decided to do in 2020 was donate 10% of our profit to charity across the board, and that's something that we've been able to accomplish this year, and I can't tell you how proud I am of that. Being able to donate that money to humanitarian efforts like water wells in Africa, freeing young girls from the sex slave trade in Europe and Asia, network of hope and feeding the poor in the greater Pittsburgh area and actually in our community. The support that you guys have given me, I just wanted to let you know that it is overflowing. For 2021, I would like to do even more, but it's all because of your guys' support. So be proud of that, guys. Thank you guys for bringing this together. It's amazing the solidarity that has come from this insane year. I think all of us have continued to improve as people, learn to be more considerate of those around us, and build a character that I know is going to pull us through into the future. And because of that, I can't wait to see what 2021 has to bring. I love you guys. We'll catch you next time.